I'd like to thank you all for joining us tonight on our last Instagram Live for this particular series for Here We Are. That's online now virtually through June 20th on our website at bsbgallery.com. We are interviewing our last artist, Komikka Patton, and very excited to have her here tonight. Komikka is a 2D media artist based in New York City. She uses ballpoint pen, ink, paper, and assorted printmaking techniques to create works that are essentially based on the African diasporan human condition. Each illustration and print tells a different story reflecting life, death, and the tribulations of characters that are symbolic of the stereotypical Black identity. She has been featured on Hyperallergic and in FOA and Botticelli magazine, a solo show at the Nane Contemporary Art Space in Chiang Mai, Thailand, as well as various galleries in New York City and Columbus, Ohio. She is the winner of the Toldestat Drawing Prize and the May and Samuel Rudin Foundation Scholarship. She has obtained her BFA in Fine Arts of Columbus College at Art and Design and an MFA from New York University. Stylistically, Komikka's artwork is unquestionably distinctive as she combines comic book style drawings with collage work and paper installations. Her expressive figures share incredibly detailed narratives and explores comprehensive visions of futuristic utopias and dystopias that converge at the intersection of awareness, power, and emancipation, anchoring them with direct relevance to contemporary social issues in ways that communicate Black women's participation in and the alienation from the larger world. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring Komikka into the feed. Hi.
Hi, how are you? Okay.
Good, how are you doing?
I'm so good. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
All right, great.
So, Komikka, how's it going in New York?
Pretty good. I've been actually okay. Life is pretty normal over here for me. I wake up, create, go to sleep, do it all over again the next day. So I'm good.
Oh, that's nice. Good. I'm glad to hear. So, the format's going to be, we'll do a little bit of a Q&A between the two of us. If anyone has any questions that they want to ask in the feed, feel free. And then once that's done, we'll do a little bit of a studio tour of your work. Awesome? Okay. So, I guess let's get started by telling us a little bit about yourself, your own personal background, and what influences you as an artist.
Okay, well, I was fortunate enough to be able to go to a magnet school from 6th grade to 12th grade. So it's Northwest School of the Arts in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I've been doing art since I was 11 years old. And after I graduated from Northwest, I went to Columbus College of Art and Design studying in fine arts. But Columbus College of Art and Design is actually known for illustration and animation. So I was just surrounded by people who just love to draw. I love to create new worlds, and I'm really fortunate about that. And then after Columbus, I kind of went to NYU, and there I thrived and stayed in New York City. So yeah.
Awesome. And someone in the feed there, and I'm actually here, I'm getting like a little bit of a background noise, so it's making it a little bit hard to hear you.
Maybe if I move closer. Can you hear me now? A little bit better?
It's about the same. It's kind of like an echo. You have an echo behind you.
Really? I don't know. Okay, maybe.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. How about now? Does it help?
Oh, that's much better.
Much better. Okay, cool.
Okay. So can you tell us about your influences?
So yeah, my art right now particularly is just inspired by my life right now, inspired by my journey, inspired by my mom's life, my grandmother's life. And so I kind of, all those stories are kind of interwoven into the collages pretty much. I'm interested in learning about past lives. I'm interested in learning about future possibilities. And so that's kind of what I'm interested in, mostly sci-fi. I love my Black authors, my Black sci-fi authors, or speculative fiction authors. So yeah.
Awesome. So part of a large theme in your artwork is Afro-futuristic themes, and it's actually a little bit of a new, it's not that new of a genre, but it's newer. So a lot of people still aren't familiar with that genre of work. If you wanted to explain it further for people.
So I consider Afrofuturism basically an interest in examining or speculating about or imagining Black futures. And what I mean by Black futures is futures that include the African diaspora. And so what I would kind of like to say my art is about is neo-Afrofuturism. I think futurism has evolved and changed since the 80s and the 90s. And so just to put a little contemporary twist on it, and just to show that Black stories are still evolving, I like to think that it's like a neo-Afrofuturism.
Nice.
Yeah.
So another very distinctive quality of your artwork is the comic book-like style. And your drawings, everything you make is so expressive. It just pops off the page, and it's like they just feel alive, the characters. And the stories just seem so concise in each image you create. And I wanted to know, do you think of the story before you think of the image? Or do you think
I wish I did. It would be so much easier, but I do like the organic quality of the drawings and collages. It changes day to day. I may be able to complete a piece in 8 hours, or it may take me 3 weeks, but I never know what the end result is going to be. I don't do sketches or any preliminary drawings. I just kind of go for it. And I usually start with a portrait just because that's my favorite thing to draw, honestly. I love the face.
Yeah.
I love drawing eyes and nose and, ears and all of that. But so yeah, I wish I knew what the end result would be. I think as someone who just created a comic book last year, or just try to get a comic book out there, I did come up with some problems with not having those sketches. But I think there's something authentic about just letting the art kind of evolve as it wants to evolve. So yeah.
Could you tell us more about that process of making a comic book and what that was like?
It was not traditional at all, so I don't know if this is going to be any help for anyone, but when I got the mask, Mother Mask, which is some of the titles of the pieces that I have in the show, in South Africa, and I knew I wanted to do a comic book based on that experience, so just centered around the landscape of that experience. And so it took me maybe 2 to 3 years to even have a form of a book available. And the story kind of evolved with it. It's more of a poem than an actual full-blown narrative. And so Divine Mother kind of started as a letter to my mom. And then images kind of went along with it, and that's how the comic book came along. So like I said, not traditional at all.
Yeah.
No sketches were involved. But I kind of like how it became super relatable. People could really insert themselves into the comic. So yeah.
Do you think you would make another one?
Oh, that's a dream of mine. But it was so taxing. I think I don't spend longer than maybe 6 or 7 months on a piece, and this project or that particular project took like 2 to 3 years. And so it was really exhausting. And just by me not working in that way, because I'm so sporadic and I'm like, I like this here one day and I like this here the next. You can't really do that with a comic book because page 2 has to make sense with page 13. So yeah, I would love to, but right now it's kind of on the back burner.
Yeah. It's a tough thing. I don't blame you for wanting to just, So that being said, do you have any particular comics that you have favorites of that have influenced your work?
Oh my goodness. I think right now my favorite overall comic is Yellow Negroes and Other Imaginary Creatures. And it's actually a French comic, or I think it's a French comic. I wish I would have brought it out here with me, but just the illustrations. I think I'm more attracted to illustrations than I am actual stories and narratives. And so if the pictures look good, I am all for it. And that particular comic, Yellow Negroes, it's beautiful depictions, really bold line, not traditional, well rendered sketches or figures, it's like you see the brush strokes, you see the line work mixed with the brush strokes, you see how a line could be a table, and it's just it's just the line, it's just the brush stroke. So I'm interested in that type of thing. But as far as like comic artists, maybe not even really comic artists, more fine art, still Trenton Doyle Hancock, super influence. Even in the collages, a major influence, just because he reuses old drawings over and over again. The layering process, his overall story, and how everything kind of comes together. It's not just these individual comics; it's all one big narrative. And so, Trenton Doyle Hancock, I would say, is a big inspiration.
Okay. If you got a chance, would you be able to type his name in the comment section?
Yeah, I will.
Okay. Let's see. So, a lot of your artwork, and you've mentioned this before during the opening that we had on Zoom, is a lot of your work are reflections of joy and ecstasy. And I wanted to ask you to elaborate on why that's important for you and what that means in your work.
Well, my work is centered around strong Black women. I was raised by my mom, who actually just entered on this feed right now, and 3 beautiful, witty, creative Black aunts. And so I really try to liberate and elevate the Black woman in my work. And I try to do that through moments of ecstasy, I think, or just showing moments of ecstasy. I think that in the past we haven't been able to really see Black women particularly liberated in art, particularly visual art. And so that's my goal. I mean, my art doesn't just represent me, it represents my family, my ancestors, my grandmother. And so I love for that to come through.
Nice. And speaking of your mom, a large theme in your work is motherhood and the way in which you've examined it, both from a personal examination and more abstract looks at motherhood. And if you could tell us why that's important and how it's evolved over your body of work.
Okay, so Mother kind of came to me, like I said, through a trip to South Africa. It's actually a mask that I brought back, and I put her in my studio, and we just started to have a type of dialogue. But Mother is more than just, the relationship with my mother. It's just an overall nurturer, an overall person you go to when you're hurting. So it could also be a spiritual mother. It can be, Mother Universe. It could be Mother Earth. It could be your aunts, your cousin, whoever mothered you in a way. And it kind of evolved because I started to see myself reflected in Mother, just like I started to see myself reflected in my actual mom, or I guess vice versa. But yes, so she kind of became this embodiment of a little bit of everything, just the journey, the experience. I think my work tries to play with many deaths and many rebirths. And so that womb of the journey is Mother, you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know if that made sense. So you can ask me to clarify if you need to.
Well, for me, it does.
Okay.
In fact, as you were describing it, I'm thinking about your artwork. It just, again, I'm thinking about how alive every single one of your pieces are. And they just have this expressive quality of life to them. So
just to even go a little bit more in depth in that, Mother is the ocean, Mother is the fruit that you eat that feeds your cells in your body. Mother is just the thing that keeps you being, keep you happy, and continue to nurture you. And so I kind of would like that I hope that comes through in the work. It's just this life, this entity that is there to protect. It could be a guardian, a confidant, or just a person to stand in that space.
Can you go more into the mask that you acquired and how that reflects and repeats in your artwork, because that's been in your work for a while, correct?
Yeah. So the mask came from I believe, Pretoria, South Africa. And it was literally outside of a museum. It wasn't the apartheid museum. We went there another day, but it was another smaller museum. And outside of this museum was like the street market. And as I was looking through the street market, I tried to find a mask that looked similar to me. I just wanted something to remember the experience. I didn't have any idea that it would infiltrate as many pieces as it did. And so when I hung it in my studio, like I said, we were able to engage with each other, because at one point I'm saying hi, I'm saying bye, and then I noticed that this mask was filling a space. My mother lives in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm in New York City, you know what I mean? So, and then it started to bring up some things that needed to be healed in that relationship, and it started to bring up other things that needed to be healed, and then it brought up, my relationship with my spiritual relationship, and so it just became like this all-encompassing. And then even a part of the comic, one of the pages, I actually put the mask on to show that I was also the mask, or the mask was also me, however you want to put that in your head. But so yeah.
Nice. And so another interesting methodology that you use in your artwork is deconstructing your pen and ink drawings and then cutting them out and collaging with them. And you do this both with your large scale installations and your newer, smaller collage works where you're using acetate and other types of layering processes. And those smaller pieces, they're like jumping off the page. And I guess I wanted to know how that developed, how that started, and where you feel like it's going.
I want to say that started probably my last year of undergrad. I'm also a printmaker, and so I'm taking these printmaking classes, I'm taking these drawing classes, I'm taking this illustration class, and I'm spending all this time in all these different areas. What would happen if I just glued them all together? You know what I mean? What would happen if I start stitching them together? And that's what I love so much about paper, is that you can cut it, you can tear it, you can glue it back together, you can flip it over and see the other texture on the other side. And so after I started doing that, the kind of possibilities kind of broke open, and I kind of can't get away from paper now. It's like one of the best materials to use. You can roll it up, put it in the tube, ship it, you don't have to worry about hefty shipping prices, and so I hope that answered the question.
Yeah. One of my favorite things about seeing your collage works is the fact that you don't fully tack everything down so that it's flat, but you have stuff that's lifted up slightly. It's not common to see that in collage work, and I appreciate it.
That's still what's so cool about paper, is that you can build it up until like it's three-dimensional. You can you can fold it to have, you can make paper sailboats and still be like, it's a paper installation, and that's really cool to me. And so I like that aspect. I like to play with shadows and lights and like dramatics. If you want to say what my favorite comic is, or what I'm inspired by too, it's probably Batman. And I don't even like Batman that much. It's just, I love the intensity. I love the drama of it all, and so I kind of like that to come out through the work too.
Nice. So, and again, I'm going back to talking about your figures. They're also they all have this very fluid like quality to them, and some of them like they have very elongated features and body parts, and like some of their arms just kind of like wave off the page. And I wonder what your choice making is in those styles and in those stylistic choices.
Like I said, it's not a matter of even planning ahead. I kind of just like feel it out. And whatever I'm inspired to draw that day is what I draw that day. And hopefully it goes with what I draw tomorrow, and hopefully it goes together with what I drew, 2 weeks ago. But yeah, I don't plan out anything. And sometimes, I might spend, 14 hours on a drawing and it doesn't work. And so I have to draw something else. And so there is a downside to not planning out anything, because you're like, okay, well, that was 12 hours. I can probably use somewhere else, but it won't go in this piece. But I think this was cool too, because I saved those drawings. I don't throw anything away. I keep it and save it and tuck it into a folder, and maybe I can reuse it. So
you can cut it up and make something new with it.
Exactly. Or, and if that arm doesn't work, that arm's getting cut off. And it's something else now. Yeah.
honestly, I feel like you can tell that you don't really plan it out because it is so organic and expressive looking. And I think that's like the best quality of your work, honestly.
I think so too. Thank you.
Again, because it feels like everything's so like alive and living and like they're having a conversation with you. I'm sorry, I'm getting all emotional about your work.
I appreciate it. I cried about it, you know. Thank you.
So another thing that you that I did notice is, so you mostly do work in black and white, but I have seen you work in color from time to time. What needs to be the motivating factor for you to do that?
Boredom. I do get bored. So sometimes I'll be working on a large paper installation. I'm like, I'm tired of working so big. I want to work small now. Or like, I'm tired of working in black and white. I want to paint for a little bit. And then I'm tired of painting. That's too complicated. I want to do just a simple ink drawing. Oh, well, that's boring now. And I want to do collage now. It's just a matter of like keeping myself interested and keeping myself motivated and keeping myself always in the moment of creating. I think that's really important as an artist, to just like know when you get bored. And know when to switch it up and keep it interesting, you know, and know when to like, oh, what another section of creativity, what else can I pin from? What else am I inspired by? You know, oh, I love this color red of this plant. How can I incorporate this in a piece, you know, type of thing. So yeah, just keeping myself interested.
Awesome. So now it's time to take a look around your studio.
Oh, that was so quick. I'm so sorry.
It was
really fast.
Anyone in the feed, if you have any questions for Komikka, please ask. And I'm sure I'll have more questions while we're walking around your studio too.
Okay, cool. Let me see if I can flip this. There we go. So my studio is pretty much just my living room, and these are just some things that I've been working on. Yeah, these are images from the comic. I had a show at Weeksville Heritage Center last September, and this is probably the cover of the comic. And these are actually some of the works that you were interested in before. Let me just flip through. So yeah, it's just the living room is kind of saturated with art pieces, and this is something that I was actually working on today. This is a combination of an old piece that I'm still interested in, trying to see how I can rework it. I just have things in the corner. It's
Nice.
It's really great. And that's still some work too. So yeah. And this is where all the magic happens. And at the table, it's just, you know, the messiest thing. And this is where I keep all my junk paper. So like I said, I don't throw anything away. I keep things. These are old drawings from my first attempt at a comic, and you know, I still have them. So yeah.
Nice. So can you tell us more about the piece that's on the floor, Komikka?
So there's two different ones. Which one are you? This one or this one?
Well, how about let's start with the larger scale one, and then we can talk about the other one.
This I started yesterday. Like I said, it's a combination of an old piece, which was Woes of a Negro, and this was basically a piece dedicated to showing the ancestors on your back, you know what I mean, especially for the African diaspora, and just the trauma. And I wanted to like flip that for me right now, just where I am in my life right now. I wanted to flip that and show this as a liberating experience, show it as an awesome experience, not so much of a woe, but as a power, as a superpower, if anything, that you have access to, you know, access to that knowledge of that, you know. And this piece over here, I don't know if it's actually one piece. I think I've been doing these collages just, you know, almost every other day or so. And so I'm trying to see what they look like together. So everything's on the floor. It's kind of a work in progress. Yeah, just trying to see how things work together. Where can I sew? Where can I stitch? Where can I tear? Where can I cut? These are more collages that I just try to keep myself creating, honestly. Just try to keep the juices flowing.
I really enjoy the ones with the black background, with the I guess the background is more solid, and then the details are white, like it's like reversed. It's like a negative, I guess.
That's still coming from boredom, but they're still like, you know, okay, I'm tired of working on white. Let me work on black now. You know, just try to keep it new and fresh. Even for me, you know, sometimes I get tired of black and white, but you know, you can always, there's so much gray in between the two. It's so beautiful. So yeah.
So what with the ones with the black backgrounds, is the paper black
or
paper
black?
Okay.
Starting with the black background, just to see, you know, what else could pop up.
Well, I have to say I'm really excited about your large scale paper installations too.
Thank you. I wish I could put them on the wall. So, you know,
but you can.
I guess I could. But one thing that not having a studio space kind of, you know, hinders is like you're not able to like put those pieces on the wall and really step back and look at them. But yeah, thank you.
No problem. We have a question from Lewis. Stretching out new narratives out of already existing objects or past families, do you ever have any anxieties or think there's a limit? And if so, how do you handle that?
I don't know what you mean by think there's a limit. I as far as like using old work, is there a limit to like using old work? Maybe. I don't think so. I think that particularly with Woes of an E-Girl, I spent hours in the print studio printing, I don't know, maybe 75 prints of that one particular image, doing ghost images and all. And so I feel like there's so much emotion and so much love in those works by themselves that I could use them anywhere, and all that love and all that devotion will kind of show up in other places. And if there's a limit, I don't know of it. I don't like to put myself in boxes. If I have it, I'm going to use it because I created it. You know, I hope that answered the question. I'm not sure.
So your printmaking, do you typically do lino cuts or screen print?
Actually, my favorite, if I have to say a favorite, is probably lithography. After lithography, probably intaglio. Relief is just easier to make duplicates that are striking and stand out. I haven't yet been able to incorporate my intaglio prints with my larger installations without it looking like an intaglio print in the midst of a paper installation, you know what I mean? So relief kind of gives me that ability to blend printmaking and paper collages. Yeah.
So, and Lewis responded, I feel you, Komikka. Does anyone else have any questions for Komikka or comments in the feed?
Or if you just want to see some more art, just let me know. This is
I would like to see. Did you have some pieces on wood panels?
I did, and I can break them out. Let me do that. I have some already hung up. Let me turn this. There we go. So this is one wood, and this is Breathe on the Shrine, and this is Beehive Ginger. Got to represent the homies. That's because I like I said, I get bored, so I also get bored of drawing myself. So I love when I can ask friends to pose for me or send me pictures, so I can also incorporate them in this this art that, you know, beautifies Black women. And this is some of the pieces I think you're talking about.
Did you work directly on the wood panel, or did you adhere make the work on the paper first and then adhere it to the panel?
And so some of these, like I said, I kind of reuse old drawings a lot. So the background of these collages are actually part of my first comic that I was drawing in South Africa. And so because I had these drawings and I wasn't doing anything with them, I was like, you know what, I can totally do something and collage on top. And so that's kind of what happened. I just started building on top of drawings that I already had. They were already mounted on the wood for, you know, shows.
I'm probably repeating myself, but I really love how they pop off the canvas.
No problem. I'm trying to keep like panels from falling over. Right now, these frames are okay. Here we go.
Does this one have a particular story?
This is Metropolis, and so all the ones that are mounted on wood panels are kind of dedicated to friends who have inspired me at a point in time. So the the collages themselves kind of encompass how I see them personally. So this is called Metropolis, and this is someone who I believe kind of embodies New York City, loves Harlem. You know, I had kind of represents Harlem and Puerto Rico, and so I tried to incorporate that in the art. This one, another beautiful friend who this is kind of like their energy that I feel when I'm around them, and so everything kind of is kind of dedicated to how I view their personality or how I view them.
Nice.
Yeah. And I think these are all the I think I only did 5 of these, so we're going to be looking at the same 5. What else are you interested in?
So what when did you start using acetate in these collages? And when did you just decide I need that particular material in my work?
Acetate in the work. I want to say probably my first year at NYU. I think I was in the paper store and I'm interested in what other paper can I use. I'm tired of using Blick's Bristol board or BFK Reeves or watercolor paper. What else is out there? And so I'm like, oh, this really beautiful clear acetate or this Duralar is out there. What can I do with it? Oh, wow, it creates even more an intense layering effect. Okay. What then? You know, it's just like continuously playing. So yeah, probably my first year at NYU. Yeah.
Nice. So, Komikka, do you have any upcoming events that you want to share with us?
I do actually have a show coming up at the end of the month in Milwaukee. I'm sorry. And I think it's 5 Point Gallery. I hope I'm saying that right. Yeah, and I think I will be showing some of these collages. Yeah, I'm saying that because I haven't shipped anything out, but I'm shipping tomorrow. And so yeah, that's kind of what I have coming up. I don't know if it's going to be another. I don't think it's going to be a virtual. I think it's going to be a physical show or an actual show. So, yeah.
Nice, awesome, and also, for those of you that are in the feed, do you want to share your Instagram so people can follow you as well?
Yes.
Do you want to? So Komikka's Instagram is I think it's Komikka the Martian, correct?
Yeah. So it's going to be Komikka_the_Martian. Yeah, and also that's my website, Komikka the Martian. If you haven't picked up a Divine Mother comic, I have the web comic available on my website. If you are interested to learn more about Divine Mother or just how I related it to my mother or how I related it to myself, yeah. So and also just some other work too, some past work. You can see where Woes of a Negro, the prints that are actually on the floor right now came from and where it started. Yeah.
That was originally an installation at Gutenberg Arts?
No, installation at Columbus College of Art and Design. It was my senior thesis. And I was always a little disappointed with how the final product came out. And so I'm glad that I kind of kept it. And to be honest with you, I didn't even expect to have this in New York. I asked my mother for another piece because everything's in the laundry room in North Carolina. I asked my mother for a particular piece for Mikada, and she kind of sent a box of a little bit of everything. And I'm like, I can't eat this. This is like random, you know, it's taking up space. And so, but I'm glad I have it. And since I have it, I'm going to use it, you know?
Nice. So, yeah, so that's the end-ish. I would just like to thank everyone for joining us tonight. So here we are. It is up on BSB Gallery's website until June 20th, where you can see Komikka's work and our other 4 artists, Lio Bright, Beverly McCutcheon, Theda Sanaford, and Josie Love Roebuck. So I apologize for that mental blank there. And yeah, so that is our this is the end of the series for our virtual studio visit.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. It's been a great to see everyone's lives, and it's been great to like see the workshops. I think one had a workshop that was collaging or quilting. I think it was collaging, was it? And so it's been nice to see and meet other African American women who are creating about being African American and being a woman. It's been awesome.
Yeah, and I'm glad that everyone, you know, joined and participated, and there's artwork up and available for sale on our website. Please, you know, be a patron or consider. But at the end of the day, just at least, you know, take a look at the exhibit. Everyone's work is amazing, and they are truly very talented women, and I'm so glad that I have had the pleasure to work with each and every one of you, and I appreciate it. So
you did it seamlessly. I'm surprised how the route to the virtual gallery, I'm sure it was difficult, and